Hey guys, Lord here, back in with another action figure review. And a frog in my throat, or in this case, maybe a scorpion in my throat. God, I hope not. I might die. That said, today we're going to be taking a look at the Transformers Studio Series Rise of the Beasts Deluxe Class Scorponok. In my opinion, a bit of an upgrade to the Kingdom Scorponok in a few ways. One of the ways is size, another way is the alt mode, but he is fidgety, so there is that. That said, this course is brought to us by the fine folks over at Hasbro, as well as my good buddy Evil Villain. Click the link in the description below, head on over to ye old Instagram and give him a follow. And while you're at it, let him know Overlord sent you. But as always, be nice, or he'll break your legs. Y'all think I'm kidding about that. I don't think you quite understand how that man works. Either way, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, why don't we cut right to the chase and get into the meat and taters of this review and take a look-see at all Scorponok has to offer in terms of accessories. And of course, what is a scorpion without his tail? I don't know if you can use this as like a weapon of some kind, but it does have like a hinged peg here, so maybe you could plug this into his hand and use it as some kind of whip, but I haven't quite figured that out yet, and it doesn't look like anything goes on up here. I just tend to stick it in his booty hole, and that's about it. But you can fold this down and then kind of store it on his back. We'll do that a little later. So taking a closer look at the... Is this guy Terracon too? He probably is. In question, he's pretty freaking gnarly looking. Pretty freaking gnarly looking. Judging by the sculpt of those hands, I would say you could probably plug this in somehow. I just don't know how. I ain't that smart. I think it's on the other side. No. But he's a pretty gnarly looking bot. Like, look at this dude. I will say, I wish the legs collapsed a little better, like the Kingdom version, but they don't, so whatever. They're at least out of the way, so I'll give him that. His head sculpt is pretty freaking tough. I like that. I'll also say this is a bit of a step up from the 07 Scorponok. I mean, really, look at this dude. You wouldn't want to mess with this dude. I mean, seriously. But as far as his articulation goes, his head is on a ball joint. You can look all around. You can actually dislodge his neck, and then you get a little bit more out of that, so he can do the... Seems to be a pattern with these guys. I think all three of them I've looked at so far, that includes this guy, have that going on. His shoulders, very awkward to pose because of these pauldrons. And then you move the arm up and it gets right up in his face. Maybe you could dislocate this transformation piece here and get those moving a little better. He does have a single jointed elbow that gets you a little more than 90, however, as well as a bicep swivel and ball jointed hands that can move all around. So that's cool. He does happen to have a waist twist. Be careful, it's not very hard to dislocate this. It stays in, but the hips are very tight on this guy. So moving them up is not that big of a deal, but moving them back down, you could dislocate this piece if you're not holding on to it. So be mindful of that. His hips can kick out. I think they are on like just disc hinges. He does have a thigh cut that is a little faceted. Again, you're going to want to hold on to the waist to really get anything out of that. Like I said, he's cool, but he's fidgety. There. I think that's how I had it. No, it was somewhere over here. He's got a single jointed knee, but don't move this up too high or you're going to get this stuck in here and then you're not going to be able to move it. Which is kind of silly if you ask me. You really just got to untab the whole thing, and I don't know why that's a thing. That's very odd, but I guess if you want to have him standing at attention like a toy soldier, you can totally do it, and his legs won't flinch or anything. He does also have ball-jointed feet, so they have all kinds of range as far as rock and forward and back and whatnot, and decent little heel spurs, so he won't fall on his butt kiss. That said, why don't we attach his tail here? Give you a better look at what he looks like with that. And then you can kind of collapse it up against his back. Kinda. It collapses for the most part. It's not perfect, but it's not bad. But there you go. That is Scorponok Terracon. At least I think it's Terracon. Scorponok in a nutshell. Now allegedly there's another Scorpion guy. I'm gonna have to track him down. Maybe I have by now, and there'll be a review of that going up very, very soon, but other than this guy, there's also the Deluxe class Nightbird, who of course sold out. I'm guessing they were a popular character from this movie. I'm not sure. Some Transformers that are popular, they pegworm here, and then others that I'm like, oh, that'll go on clearance, they don't. So, you never know nowadays. You really, really freaking don't. But rest assured, what I do know is that this guy is cool, but he is a little bit on the fidgety side, especially with how tight his hips are. Gee whiz. So standing him up to the best of my abilities, so we could bring in our two regulars. Yeah, that's a lot better. Gee whiz. Gee frickin' whiz. And centering him, jeez, moved all over the place when I tried to do that. Bring our two regulars, the Mythic Legion's brother Mandibulith, who's also very pointy with big pauldrons that get in his own way. But I don't mind him on him though. His are at least articulated so you can get him out of the way. We also have the infamous 11 Spawn, who as usual towers over everyone because, well, he's a 7-inch figure. This guy's what, like 5, maybe 4.5 or something. He's a little teeny guy, but looks like he'd F you up, so I wouldn't mess with him. So that being said, it's time now that we wrap things up with some final thoughts. Overall, and I have to be honest with you in saying that despite the fact that I love Beast Wars Scorponok, I really do, I felt that Kingdom Deluxe class was extremely lacking. I think he should have been a Voyager. This one, however, I have to admit, feels like a step up, and a bit of an apology for how lackluster that previous version was. Even though it doesn't exactly go with those figures, I would argue that this is a bit of an upgrade to Kingdom Scorponok in Bayformer clothing. I mean, yes, it's a Bayformer version of Beast Wars Scorponok, but it's a good Bayformer version of Beast Wars Scorponok, let's be honest. Because the Beast Wars Scorponok we've had for a couple of years now from the Kingdom line, I don't know, this is just not as good as it could have been. At least in terms of the legs, maybe. So, with that being said, before we wrap this up and sign off, I think it is now time that we take a closer look at Scorponok's Scorpion Mode. And as promised, here we have good old Scorponok in his Scorpion Mode, and I gotta be honest with you, this is a creature, and I love that, because not for nothing, the Kingdom Deluxe class Scorponok, based off his Beast Wars counterpart, kind of sucked compared to this. This is a monster of a Scorpion mode. And I think, personally, probably the better of the two modes. I mean, he's got an articulated head this time around, so that's kind of nifty. His arms, of course, they can move a little bit. His legs can even move a little bit, especially these hind ones. His tail, a little bit. So yeah, he might not be as posable as the other one, but considering the fact that this is like the Beast Wars Bayformer equivalent of that Kingdom one, that's pretty freaking cool. I dig it. I think this is better than like the 2007 Scorponok Scorpion mode, to be honest with you. This thing looks like it'll rip you a new bungholio. So yeah, I dig it. It's a fairly decently sized deluxe. And we don't get that a lot nowadays. Seems like deluxes are going to start being core class size now. And I don't know about all that. So with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this review. Until next time, I'll catch you guys later.